This is Steve Carlson of the Independents and Tea Party with a few post-election thoughts. I'm down here in Stillwater, the birthplace of Minnesota, and you can see the church steeples behind me. So you can see the heritage of Minnesota and the foundations on which it is built. And also the lovely St. Croix River, where they're building a new bridge. And Betty McCollum opposed the construction of a new bridge that was badly needed for 30 years. And that shows the kind of hard times that we're still going through. Betty was re-elected in a straight party vote, although there was some change in the district out here in the new Washington County. Look, we need to make some big changes going forward. Sure, we're going to have Barack Obama, president, Democratic president, in there for the next 4 years, and that is a very bad mistake. But we still have a chance to turn this country around, and that's what I aim to do. In 2014, I am going to be a candidate again for Congress from the Independents and Tea Party. And we need to study the situation. Social issues are not going to help this country move forward unless we make the right changes. And the changes are to go back to the traditions that have brought us forward. Marriage, honesty in voting, we need to have honesty in voting. And voter ID is for that purpose. We can go ahead and get more people involved to participate in elections, not only in presidential elections, but in congressional elections in off years, and also local elections, county elections. It's very important that people start to look at what governance is all about. Barack Obama and the Democrats went out and they collected a lot of new voters, people who would vote on special issues to undermine marriage, to undermine the voting system, and leave the possibility for fraud. But more importantly, because those were all new voters, that is not what we need. We need consistent voters. We need people who consistently pay attention not only to the vote, but to the issues that we need to face because we are a democracy and have the responsibility for governing ourselves. Michelle Bachmann was re-elected, and that's a good thing. We need people who are going to be honest, who are going to have values, and also who honor religious liberty. That is what this country is founded on. And what we can see is that the Democrats are assaulting them. The Democrats have indicated just yesterday, one day after the election, that they are going to go ahead and pass a gay marriage law. They first campaigned against a constitutional amendment that simply reflected the law. Now, one day after refusing, turning back that constitutional amendment with a lot of new voters that are anti-marriage, they're going to go ahead and change that law. That's different than what they said during the election. During the election, they said sometime in the future we're going to put this before the Minnesota voters. And in fact, they lied and waited until the day after. Now they're going to start it up. Hopefully, the new, totally Democratic-controlled state government is going to be more responsible than that and let the voters decide this, and not judges, and not a democratically controlled legislature. If they do that, we have to oppose it, and we're going to have to fight back in 2014. And I'm asking for your support for Congress when I run in 2014 for the Independence Party and the Tea Party. problem that we had before. We have a president and a Senate who are irresponsible, who are going to continue to raid the cookie jar. They're going to continue to spend out of control. They're not going to face the fiscal problems that they are creating. And we need to make the right decisions. We need to work on a bipartisan basis to address first the fiscal cliff, then the debt ceiling. You're going to turn over those major programs to the states. It doesn't help for John Boehner to make a deal. We should not include entitlements when we're getting out of the fiscal cliff. Let's be honest. Let's not impose spending cuts on people who are entitled to Medicare, who are entitled to Social Security. Instead, let's go forward. Let's really go forward, and let's make the adjustments that we need to make. And the only way that we can turn that spending around is to turn those major federal programs over to the states. As Mitt Romney has said, even if the states choose to operate at the same level, they're not going to be funded by interest and borrowing from China. And we've got to address that immediately. And I hope that you'll continue to pay attention to these issues in the time leading up to 2014, when we can take our country back. Thank you. This is Steve Carlson. I'm a candidate for federal office in 2014 for the Congress.